So I'm going to be talking about a principle called be, do, have, right? And it's going to flip your mindset from you focusing on the wrong work to focusing on the work that serves your calling. Because the reason you're so exhausted every day, you're so mentally drained and beat up on a daily basis, and you're still not seeing the results that you want, you're still not having the things that you want, you're not having that abundance that you've been praying to God for, is because you're working extremely hard in the wrong places. And it's simply because you didn't follow the principle of be, do, have. Because nowadays the world makes it so normalized to start at have. And to have, right, you think about having so much that you don't think about becoming, but you think about only doing. And that's why a lot of people nowadays are working jobs that they hate, are doing whatever it is that they possibly hate to make money. Because they never first thought about what it takes to be the man that makes X amount of dollars, or has X amount of results, or that serves X amount of people. But they thought about, what do I have to do to make 6 figures a year, to make X amount a year, right? And your parents will tell you, everybody will tell you around you, go to college for this, or go to this trade because it'll make you this amount of money. Or if you go to college to be a doctor, right, you're gonna make good money. But the truth is you can't let somebody else tell you what only God can tell you. And it's not about just doing, it's about being aligned. And that's when we must focus on identity first. The Word of God says in Genesis 1:28, God blessed them and said to them, be fruitful and increase in number. Fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky and over every living creature that moves on the ground. And most versions says have dominion over every fish in the sea and the birds in the sky and over every living creature that moves on the ground. So where we start off with be is be fruitful. And being fruitful, first off, being a fruit, right? A fruit is a plant that has a seed inside itself. So think about fruit, right? When a fruit comes off the branch, like it has seeds inside itself so that when it falls onto the ground and it replants itself in the ground, it grows more fruit. So as us as humans being fruitful, we must be fruitful, which means we must use the seed that God planted inside of us to produce externally. And you see where I'm going with this, right? After be fruitful, it says, and increase. But increase is a do. Do increase. Do multiply. So we must multiply. We must do increase. We must do multiply with the internal seed that God gave us to be. So whatever God gave us, or whatever He planted inside of us, the gift that He has given us, because the Creator has given us His seed, He has planted Himself inside of us, that we may take on His ways and His virtues so that we can externally multiply and produce. So that what? We may have dominion. You see? You're so focused on just multiplying, on doing, before becoming. Because becoming is the identity phase and the most important phase. Because if you don't understand that God planted a seed inside of you that you could use to tap into, to produce externally, so that you may multiply, so that you may increase, you're never going to reach the potential that God has for you. You're never going to tap in to the things that God has for you, that He had planned for you, because you're so focused on a dollar sign. You're so focused on a result that you're not focused on the identity of what it takes to get that result. So you need to start shifting your mindset from just having. Stop thinking about the result. Stop thinking about getting that physique. Stop thinking about getting all those girls. Stop thinking about getting that huge house. Stop thinking about how much you're gonna make in a year. Start thinking about what type of man do I need to become to make the biggest impact ever. to make X amount of dollars, to have X amount of things? What man do I need to become so that God will trust me to steward these things? And when we talk about identity, right, you need to figure that out first before you even think about doing, because you could be doing with the wrong identity. And when you start doing with the wrong identity, you start producing the wrong results, the results that God didn't have set for you. So one thing I like to do to know what my identity is journal, right? If you're not journaling on a daily basis to understand who you want to be, right? If you're not getting a clear image of who you want to become, then you're always going to be doing the wrong things. But until you could think clearly of who you want to be, of the person that God has called you to be, and so you could just sit there and think clearly and see that man in your eyes, in your brain, in your thoughts, you could imagine it. That's when you can start doing what it takes to become that man. So listen, what I want you to do right now is pull out a pen and paper and write down the virtues, write down the characteristics of the man that you want to become, right? And just write down how that man would be moving, what he would be doing to have the blessings that God has for him. And that's where you can start. That's where you can start to figure out who you need to become and what you need to start doing to have what God has for you.